Today we got another DR200 video for you. Yesterday, myself and a buddy of mine took our bikes up to the track. I was riding the DR200. My buddy was riding his dad's 06 KTM DMX300. It's a two-stroke, and man, that thing is a ripper. This one did not do too bad itself. So yesterday, most of the footage was on the GoPro. We, were riding the trails and everything. It was just me and my buddy, no one to film. So we'll jump back and forth between me right now and the GoPro footage of yesterday, and I'll kind of explain what was going on, and I'll tell you how this thing did against the DMX300. And it wasn't really like a race or anything like that, but we were both riding together, and I kind of wanted to see how this thing stacked up against a legitimate race bike. So let's get to it. Damn, boys, look at that friggin' beautiful sunrise. Well, good morning. We got me and my boy Justin here is driving so that I can film. We're headed on up to the trails, and we're gonna go rip that DR200. We can do a little KTM 250 two-stroke versus the DR200 ripper. All right, see you guys up on the trails. All right, folks, here we are at the staging area. It's completely empty. We got the primo spot. Bop. This is actually the same place that we came and we went camping that day and filmed the Forester video for the Forester camping setup. So there's also OHV trails here. This is called the Dee Flats. It's a little ways outside of Estacada in Oregon. So let's go rip these bikes. Justin's riding a KTM 300 two-stroke. I think I said it was a 250 earlier, but it's actually a 300 two-stroke. But this is a 200 four-stroke, and I think I'll have some trouble keeping up with him. So we'll see how it goes. We'll switch over to the GoPro here. I apologize in advance for the audio. It always sucks on the GoPro. I totally fucking whiskey throttled it, right? I just couldn't get my hand off the throttle. Okay guys, wanted to leave you off with that little video of my whiskey throttle right into the bushes there. I crashed that bike so many times on that trip. I mean, the wheel is completely straight by now, and you can kind of tell even on camera that I've totally bent the handlebars. Either the handlebars or the triple tree is just tweaked a little bit. I need to take it apart and fix it. Anyway, let's talk first and foremost about the handling. So there was a couple instances while I was riding this thing and we were ripping on the trails where I was giving the bike input and telling the bike that I wanted to turn, like turning the handlebars, leaning the bike, positioning my body, etc. And the bike just would not turn. So you'll see in this clip right here, I'm kind of mobbing a little bit towards the turn on a gravel road, and I'm giving the bike input I'm starting to initiate my turn and the bike's not responding, so I have to really slow down to take this turn. And even though I do get it slowed down, I end up way to the outside of that turn. So the other issue I was having in the turning department was the bike kept sliding out from under me. And again, that could just be because it was, my first time riding, and it could also just be a handling issue. The bike is not really built for, trails. It's a dual sport, so there's compromises on the road riding and there's compromises on the trail riding, and suspension is most likely one of those. Speaking of suspension, the front forks would bottom out over almost every medium to large size bump. Every dip you hit, going like 20-ish miles an hour, if you hit a decent sized dip, that front suspension is going to bottom out. If you're going over a jump, that front suspension is going to bottom out. You really got to lean back onto the rear shock to try to kind of float over all the obstacles. It's just not really a well-rounded, good feeling bike to ride. It kind of beats you up. Holy shit. Oh my god. Alright, so that last clip was easily one of my favorite ones. I fell from a ledge that was like 3 foot up down into the actual trail straight onto a boulder. My head smacked the boulder. And that's a great example of why you should always wear full gear when you're out riding them. I mean, any motorcycle, period. Whether it's a dirt bike, street bike, even a friggin' pedal bike, you know, a 10-speed, you should probably be wearing a helmet. Anyway, the next thing I wanted to talk about, and it was a question that I had when I first got this bike, was, does it handle jumps? Can this thing go off any jumps? Now, obviously, you aren't going to be sending this thing off a 60-foot jump like you would like an actual race bike. But my question was more of a power question. Like, does it have enough power in like first gear to kind of crawl up a jump, or kind of crawl up to a jump and then rip up it just to kind of do a little bunny hop? You know, just little fun stuff like that. And the answer is yeah, it can do that. I wouldn't say it has no problem doing that, because the only issue is the front forks are going to bottom out when you come down. But as far as the power part of it, it absolutely has the power in first and even second gear to kind of crawl up to or roll up to a jump, and from maybe 20-30 feet away, and then just gas it up it, and you'll catch some air. Coming down ain't so fun, but you know, the bike is capable of doing it, and little stuff like that makes all the difference between a fun bike and a bike that you can't really, you know, a bike that you have to baby. Alright, and the last thing I wanted to talk about regarding this DR200 is, how did it stack up against the KTM, and how did it do overall? I mean, was it a fun bike to ride on the trails? And as far as being fun on the trails, absolutely. It was a blast. I mean, the DR was able to keep up with the KTM just fine on the trails. I mean, on the roads leading to the trails, he could fly by me at will. And even on the trails, he could have pulled away from me at any time. But generally, when you're riding trails like that, you're not going more than 30, maybe 40 miles an hour if you're really mobbing in like second or third gear maybe. So the bike was able to keep up just fine. And once I got in the groove of things and got the hang of everything, and especially when there was, you know, ruts and berms to kind of lean into and put all my traction into, then you could really lean that bike into turns and flick it all around and stuff, and it was a lot of fun. But as far as just the overall bike, it's pretty good. You know, it's a bottom of the line dual sport that I'm comparing to a top of the line, literally probably top of the line dirt bike. I mean, those KTMs are amazing. While I'm bottoming out all the time, Justin's just floating right over all those obstacles, and that's the kind of bike that you can send 60 feet off of a jump, you know? So the comparison to the KTM is kind of a joke, more or less. It's just what we had out there, what we were riding for the day. So I was able to have a lot of fun and keep up with Justin. Overall, the dirt bike it performed okay. You know, there's a lot of room for improvement, and there's a lot of modifications you could probably make to a dirt bike like that to make it even more smooth to ride. The only thing is, you'd probably be better off just spending your money on a whole new dirt bike. Alright guys, so that is it for this DR200 video. It won't be the last video of us riding trails. Justin and I will be going back out. I think next time we're going to try to hit Brown's Camp, so stay tuned for that. If you've made it this far in the video, I mean, you might as well just go ahead and hit the subscribe button. While you're at it, hit the like button. Just do the whole deal. Alright guys, thanks, and we'll see you in the next one.